many gifts can a congressman take?
Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you. My name is Tara Ingram. I will introduce myself a little more in a moment, but I just want to welcome you to this second session in The Way Through. This is a six-part series. A few weeks ago, we did session one, which was on grief, anger, and emotional resilience. Today's session is on what you love, your core values, and your personal strengths. Um, we we all have, we know what we love, we know what we value. We often have somewhat of a sense of our personal strengths, but they're usually sort of gut feelings. We don't really particularly make them very specific and conscious, name them. And today we're going to be really exploring that in depth. And the reason for that is because when we do name them and really put them down on paper in black and white, and then we're more conscious of them and we can use them with intention. And this can really help guide and channel our energy into the world. You can sort of show us where our lane is, so to speak, for making positive change in the world. Because we can't do everything. We don't enjoy everything and we're not good at everything. So finding where the areas are that kind of overlap in all those can be a really powerful and grounding resource for us. And that can really build resilience for getting through emotional and external challenges, experiences that we go through. That can really have a negative impact. And this is one of the tools we can use to really build our resilience. So we are recording this session, but the chat box doesn't appear in the recording at all. So whatever you type in there doesn't appear in the recording. If your video's on, then your tiny little screen with your name may show on the recording. But if you turn off your camera, the screen with your name won't appear on the recording at all. So my name is Tara Ingram, she, her. I live in Sacramento, California, which is traditional Nisenan land. I'm a psychotherapist and I've been involved with Move to Amend for more than a decade. I'll share a little more about Move to Amend in just a moment. So I am an amateur presenter. Enjoy being here with you all and I'm happy to be here. Not my natural habitat particularly. So I just want to let you know that if you can't hear me or something is distracting or interrupting, please feel free to put it in the chat. If I don't catch it, Alfonso will. I have sort of prompts with my notes here, and there'll be a few brief sections where I'm actually reading something. Today will actually involve a fair bit of time for you to reflect on particular activities and do some writing and share in the chat if you would like. So there'll be pieces of that. So speaking of which, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, your name, your pronouns, and where you're joining us from today. So again, for those who just joined, welcome. So this workshop series, The Way Through, is based on an online self-study group. The title of it is The Way Through, From Overwhelm, Burnout, Despair, and Anger into Effective Action. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And so this is the online course. This is a self-study course. It's available at no charge. Explore at your own pace, and it never expires. I will put the link to this in the chat in just a moment. In this online version, you can engage deeply with the content through a mix of video, lectures, reading materials, interactive discussions, and personal reflection exercises. All right, I'm not able to find the chat here. Alfonso, would you mind sharing the course link in the chat? And
Yes,
also the course outline, please. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Sorry about that. So the course, this online course here, was curated and developed by Move to Amend. It was a collaboratively created course. Myself, Greg Coleridge, and Jason Bayless. And Move to Amend, as many of you know, I think, is a coalition working to dismantle corporate personhood and the influence of money in politics. And this was developed as part of our commitment to our values of community and continued learning. And you can learn more about us at movetoamend.org. So, the overarching theme of the way through is to explore this profound connection between personal transformation, our own inner journey, and our external action. So many of us were all these overlapping, simultaneous crises happening around us: environmental, economic, political, social. These crises are vast, they're bigger than any one individual. They can be generate a lot of very difficult feelings and emotions, and it can be really difficult to know how to feel like we can make any kind of difference, and we can really get frozen and paralyzed. So this course is about working with those inner experiences that can be so challenging and really being able to get support, know what tools we can use to support ourselves and transmute it into liberatory action. So it's really about exploring our interior landscape as a profound resource to support meaningful exterior action towards positive change, which which feeds us. It gives us a sense of meaning and purpose in the world, as well as feeling like we've done good. So, just take a moment here. Each of us has really had our own experiences that have drawn us to this evening. If you would like to share, type in the chat what motivated you to join us tonight. What struggles have you had that you are seeking support for? Alfonso for putting that in there. So the course outline and the course link are in the chat also for folks. Okay. So tonight again, we're focusing on the things that we love, our core values, and our sense of personal strengths and unique gifts, which often exist as vague feelings. We know they're there, but we don't really name them per se. So starting out, actually, let me read a few of these. Attempting to be more useful through distress, not through distress, despite distress. I don't like how my vote is effectively nullified by corporate bullying of government. General overwhelm and frustration with the fixed system and the damage it's causing friends, family, and community. Thank you all. Um, for myself, it's very much needing um, getting all of this input, seeing news, seeing images, hearing about climate change, and it generates all this painful inner experience and conflict. And so having places to channel it and knowing what to do with it really support my well-being. Um, and it's not a one and done, it's an ongoing process. So I find at different times I will experience waves of these things and need to take some time and space to engage them and then reconnect with action. I'm seeking support for coping with my tech rage, particularly at the online scamming directed at elders. It's a horrible thing that people experience. I've organized the Ride for Liberty Relay for 5 years, and I'm struggling with continuing it. Some conversations maybe with others that need to happen. Thank you for sharing, those of you who were able to. So I'm going to start us off with exploring what we love. Where we feel love, we feel strong emotion and are really propelled to act, to nurture, to protect. And nurturing what we love really fuels positive energy in the literal reward centers of our brain. And that motivates us to continue taking action. So it feeds itself. I'm going to change this screen share to a different screen. Okay, so now you should be seeing a screen with the 5-minute activity. So update this right here. So just take a few moments and write a list of everything you can think of at this time that makes your heart swell, that moves you to protect and nurture, that inspires you to create and act. Just take 5 minutes or so to reflect on some of that. And as you're reflecting, if there's anything about what you've listed that you feel like sharing in the chat, please feel free. It's a way for people to connect with others and hear how similar our experiences are. I'm sorry that you had the difficulty getting on, Barbara. This is the first activity that we've started. You can see on the screen. I'm glad you were able to join. Right. So I'll go ahead and shift over. So one of the important pieces about this, identifying what we love, is it really reconnects us to the things that matter most to us. And those are the things that propel our action. Those are the things that generate internal motivation and energy. And there's a lot of wisdom in this quote by Michaela Loach, who is an activist. To fight for the long run, you need to find both what makes your heart break and what makes it swell out of your chest. We need to be angry, outraged, and heartbroken about the harm and the violence that is being caused. But we also need to find the thing that mends our heart, the hope for something better that excites you so much that your heart swells out of your chest. It's when we have both these parts that we get to a place where there is no choice but to act in a way which will form new worlds. We can't help ourselves. The prospect of creating something better is what we can't ignore. Um, you all can see what each other have written in the chat. It doesn't, my screen doesn't work so well with me being able to see the ones that have already passed by. So I appreciate everyone who feels like sharing. So that was step one. Step two, we move on to our core values. Our core values, this quote here, are the guiding principles that define who you are and what matters most to you. They influence your decisions, shape your interactions, and provide clarity in times of uncertainty. When you're not aligned with your values, you may feel disconnected, frustrated, or overwhelmed by choices that don't quite feel right. Research, really shows that making our values quite conscious helps us act on them with more intention, which really provides an important emotional, mental, intellectual buffer from difficult experiences and increases our sense of personal agency and clarity in our decisions and actions. So this can be a really strong fuel. So shift back over to this screen. And again, we're going to take some time. Here, we're going to identify our core values as they relate to justice, injustice, and our work in activism. So they're asking yourself, what do I care most about in the world? What values guide my activism? What values inspire me to respond to injustice and work towards greater justice in the world? List the things that matter most. You can write down themes, words, or concepts that resonate with you. Things like authenticity, justice, compassion, creativity, security, wherever your imagination goes. Choosing two or three values, write a brief description of what it means to you. Doesn't matter what it means to anybody else. What matters here is your own personal meaning. Getting it down to a sentence or two can really be helpful. We're going to take about 15 or so minutes for this. Um, here you end up with a precise and very personal definition of your core values, and it can really help guide and channel your action in a way that's personally meaningful. This activity, 15 minutes is a small amount of time. It's just a starting point. And this is something you can really revisit and create a strong relationship with over time. Once you get through those pieces, you can also explore how are these values already present in the work that you do? In what ways is it connected to the things that you love? And maybe identifying several ways you can further incorporate that which you love and your values into your activism. And if you find yourself kind of feeling done, so to speak, then we're going to take about 5 more minutes. So I would invite you to just go back through, do some deeper exploring, go kind of dig through another round potentially. Especially in terms of the last reflection questions. Okay. And feel free to enter any of the things you explored in the chat. Some folks have already shared a bit. For myself, the values that I discovered when I did this, the main ones, the top three, so to speak, equity, where all people, all living beings have access to what they need to sustain, live, be healthy, and sustainability, where the way we live in life and the way we take care of each other and the planet is something that can exist. It's the 7 generations idea. Also, collective care. We're here to take care of each other. Those are some of my core values that guide my work. And others have shared a lot of some really powerful things in the chat. I would like to read them, but I find that ends up being distracting. I don't do it very well in terms of navigating the screen and such. So, all right. And I'm going to take us on now to our personal strengths. Activism can be overwhelming. There's so many issues and possible ways that we are called to participate. One of the ways to avoid feeling stuck and overwhelmed is really to channel our energy in the specific places where we feel most helpful and engaged. So really drawing on our own personal strengths, our own gifts. And research shows that doing this really leads to increased vitality, motivation, self-confidence, and a stronger sense of purpose. The quotes here, each one of us must choose the path that is ours. The sum total of this is legions of people taking actions in their unique ways and supporting one another. And people need to understand themselves as having a meaningful role within a story. Finding our meaningful role is critical to resilience and to our sense of well-being. So in order to explore this activity is got numerous parts to it. I am switch over to this other screen over here. So hmm, we're gonna take about 15 minutes for this one also. If folks find that they would really like some more time, please feel free to let me know in the chat. We are really using our time well today, so we can take more if it feels like we need more. I don't want to just leave us in silence if we don't need that. So there's two options here for exploring your personal strengths. Option one, identify your personal strengths by considering your your life, your work, your social experiences, trying to identify bright spots, times when things went unusually well, or you contributed in a way that felt unusually good. Identifying what energizes and motivates you, what feedback have you received from others? Often others see our gifts a little more clearly than we do. Another approach, which is kind of an interesting one, is first identifying three verbs that really fit your natural tendencies. Here's some examples. There's, of course, many more verbs that might resonate with you. Teach, organize, lead, comfort, counsel, create, change, guide, inform, consult, support, entertain, calculate, search, write, speak, listen, sing, act, guard, protect, research, coach, motivate, complete, plan. So really find verbs that feel like they really fit with what your natural tendencies and gifts are. And then three, several interest areas that resonate most deeply with you. Whether it's, um, local food bank type stuff, local mutual aid, uh, you know, c- city council, participating in city councils, so your municipality, if I can figure out how to say that word, organizing within your municipality and or even, holding positions at the school board or, active direct activism where you're more on the streets and things like that. So there's all these interest areas and which ones resonate with you most deeply. And then, kind of reflect on these and think about how they might be able to guide you. Once you've explored either of those options, really think about the current activism that you do and the ways that your personal strengths are already at play, and then identifying a few ways where you might further incorporate those personal strengths into your activism. Where could you go next with that? We will go until about 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And the session itself stops, we're closing up by 5:45 Pacific or 8:45 Eastern tonight. Just checking the time. It's 5:25. Does anyone feel like they could use more time? We can note it in the chat. And again, anything that folks feel like they would like to share from what they learned from the activity, please do. Great. And also, um, why don't we can take some minutes here. We're a little ahead on time. Um, think about like what you've just explored there. If you feel like this is giving you something that feels like it's helpful to you in a particular way, that something you learned maybe that you weren't aware of quite before, or maybe you knew it in a certain way, but this sort of deepened your awareness of it or sharpened your awareness. So if you feel like you learned something new, or were surprised by anything, please share that. So again, these activities around what we love, our personal strengths, and our values. Research shows us that identifying these in this way can really help channel our energy and help us feel more resilient and more empowered, really a sense of more agency. Um, those are the pieces of the activity for tonight. Tonight's session has a lot longer activities in it. This is part two of a six-part series. The other sessions have a lot more content for learning, hearing from people, hearing from movement leaders, hearing from people who are writing about these kinds of issues, watching some video clips, things like that. There is some reflection and some activities in the other sessions as well, but this session is pretty heavy on them. So I was hoping that we would have music during it, and that part didn't work out, but. Um, so I want to show now this screen here is showing the outline of the six sessions of the way through. This is the online self-study course that I mentioned. And now I can share, I have access to the chat, so I can share that again. Figure out how to do it. There we go. There's the online course. So the first session, which we did a few weeks ago, grief, anger, and emotional resilience. Today's session, what you love, your core values and personal strengths. In 3 weeks, we will focus on 3 weeks on March 9th at the same time. We'll focus on really working with emotions, transforming emotions into action, specifically around grief, anger, despair, and connecting with motivation. That section, we really explore ways to lean into the emotion of anger in a healthy way. We often have negative associations with anger, but lean into it to really propel you forward with right aligned action, and how grief can really serve as a potent force for activism. And we're really also encouraged in that session, we learn about how to take our care and pain out of our individual isolation and really into community, which helps us take bolder actions. There's a lot of good content in that section. The next section is socialization and liberation, breaking free from cycles of oppression. This uses some tools with some specific cycles where it maps out some of these and really gives specific ways to address them and work with them. And then the last section, which will actually have two parts because there's a lot of really great content in this one. The way through protecting joy and taking collective action for a compelling future. This section teaches us about quite a myriad of things, but one of them is our imagination of the future and how we can channel that, how we can access positive imagination of the future, not in a simplistic way, but to counteract some of all the negative images and feelings and ideas we're seeing play out in front of us. And also how important finding sources of joy is, how important learning stories of positive things that are happening in the world is. This section has a lot of research and different things and speakers with video clips um, teaching us some really helpful tools to help to support our managing with this extreme amount of we're inundated with news, we're inundated with information, with all of the complexity of the problems around us. So that section is, again, March 9th. The next one, Transforming Emotions into Actions, Grief, Anger, Despair, and Motivation. March 9th at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. And yes, the you can go to the course link that I just posted above. Someone asked if they missed the first section, how they could access it. You can access it here online. You just click that link. You can enter your information. and you can walk through the whole course yourself. These online sessions are kind of a way to do it together, a way to hear the issues and the topics presented and work with them with other people. So some people prefer that to a self-study type situation, but this course is available online for you to access as well anytime. And I will also paste the course outline. This is a PDF that describes each section in some more detail as well. And in terms of the upcoming 4 more sessions of this online series where on Zoom, you can attend all of the remaining sessions or any individual session at all. These are standalone to some degree, although they also all build together and weave together a story that's particularly helpful. So we are actually going to close a little early tonight. This went a little faster than I expected, which is an unusual benefit. But I so appreciate everyone joining tonight. Um, it's important that we support each other and that we learn tools, sorry for the jiggle, that we learn tools that will help us support us. So many people are saying, what can I do? It's overwhelming. Um, you know, people feel stuck a lot of times. And there's a lot of resources out there in the world of people who have good tools, who have good information, and it can really bolster. I know even from putting this course together, I've learned a lot that's made a big difference for myself. And it means a lot to me to share it with others. So thank you so much for everything. And feel free to email me if you have any questions or any feedback or anything. I will put my email here in the chat, but it's tara@movetoamend.org. And if you have any questions about it, any feedback, anything, any resources you're interested in learning about, I can send you more. And thank you again for joining and take good care.
How many gifts can a congressman take and somehow remain a good man? And how many times must good parents cry 'cause their little ones must sleep in a van? How many bribes can corporations give before their bribes are forever banned? The answer, my friend, is move to amend. The answer is move to amend. How many birds will fall from the air because they can no longer breathe? How many burdens can we the people take while Congress continues to deceive? How many billionaires will write all our laws while we the people still believe? The answer, my friend, is move to amend. The answer is move to amend. How many wars must our young people fight, like in Iraq and in Afghanistan? How many mothers and children must die from our drones and tanks in their lands? How many senators would send their own sons 'cause they truly believe in their stance? answer, my friend, is move to amend.